How we doing, everybody? My name is Mike. I am joined not by Mike. It is just me today. The question to you all is, why not Mike? Not me, the other Mike. As I'm filming this, Jaws is minutes away from turning 24. So a big shout out to my compadre on another year of life. He is out with some friends and family, got dinner and drinks, and he may pop in for a few minutes. But for today, I'll just be rolling with this one on my own, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully he's able to make it, and we can hear about how on the night before his 24th birthday, the Phillies, unfortunately for him, got eliminated from the playoffs. Francisco Lindor possibly should have been higher up in the MVP rankings. Probably the best shortstop in baseball right now. Absolutely ranked a grand slam today. He is one of 3 players in MLB history now to hit 2 grand slams in the same playoffs. The Mets are rolling. It feels like sort of a team of destiny, them and the Tigers. And sucks to see the Phillies drop out for Jaws because they had big hopes. They had big bats. They have great pitching. They all season were the best team in the National League, and they faced the Mets at the wrong time. So I'm sure whether it's tonight or on the next episode, we'll hear all of Mike's thoughts on that. He's not going to be happy. And just as we speak of the man, look at him arrive. We totally didn't plan this at all.
No.
Jaws is out on his birthday. Happy 24th to you, buddy. Happy that you were able to make it on for a few minutes. How you feeling?
I feel good. You know, tequila sodas are flowing just as they were when I was 23. I ate a lot of sushi tonight, and I have meetings at 8 a.m. So we'll figure it out tomorrow. But thank you, Mike. Thank you.
It sounds like you haven't changed a bit from 23 to 24, and I'm happy that's the case.
Emotions might be a little bit different. I did go through some bullshit tonight.
Oh, what kind of bullshit? You don't deserve to go through bullshit on your birthday.
There's 2 ways you can look at this, Michael. You could look at this as same old shit, turning 24, and I'm depressed because of my sports teams. I'm sure you already talked about it on the pod, which, by the way, thank you for doing by yourself. I'm sure you killed it because you're the man. You're sharp. You're still delusional, but the Phillies lost tonight. They lost to the fucking Mets. The fucking Mets. 3-1 in New York. King Mets. And they just never even put up a fight. You never thought like they were going to come back. It was the same thing with game 3. But it happened when I was 23, so maybe 24 is my year. Why not me? Why not me? But listen, maybe I'll talk more about it when I'm sober and we can do a full podcast. But like, there's not a lot to look forward to about the Phillies now. Like this, it also felt like an easy year. Like it's definitely last year too. But this is just really disappointing. I'm very sad. And listen, we beat the Braves 2 years in a row, but this was the Mets, dude. It was the fucking Mets. Like it makes me want to throw up. Not because I'm drunk, but because it's the fucking Mets. But nonetheless, we don't have to talk about it too much. Thank you for the birthday wishes, and I'll let you get back to the big podcast you're doing. But by the way, I'm going 16-0 this week.
You heard it here. Even with a few teams on the bye, not even 16 games there, Jaws is going 16-0 because he said he was going to. I'll let you get back to your birthday. Go enjoy, have a lot more drinks so that you can forget the Phillies. And forget your birthday, as one is always supposed to do,
Right.
and wake up and have the shittiest day at work ever tomorrow.
It's gonna suck. It might be worse than what I just watched with the Phillies, but I'm glad I have a podcast host, a co-host that can carry the fucking team on his back, unlike Bryce Harper did tonight. So
Somebody's got to row the boats, and I'm just happy I'm here to do it.
maybe I mean, like, I'd love to discuss with you in our weekly meetings, but like maybe sports aren't our thing. Like, what if we became finance bros and we like got fucking lit on what stock's gonna pop off, but then we still lose. Because that's all I do. I fucking lose. But 24 is my year. Cheers.
See you, Jaws. Well, cheers, Jaws. Glad he was able to pop on. Glad he's super drunk on his birthday. Glad he is super drunk to help him forget about a very disappointing ending to the Phillies season. On the flip side of things, my Yankees pulled out an absolutely gritty win in Game 3 in Kansas City with our number 3/4/5 pitcher Clark Schmidt making his playoff debut from the starting bump. He pitched incredible until the 5th inning and then lost it a little bit. Star of the game, Giancarlo Stanton, 3 for 4 with an RBI double and a no doubt home run to left field. He also stole his first base since 2020. Now, the throw still went down to second, so he had to hustle a little bit, but infield was in. They weren't paying attention to him. He got a great jump. I mean, that is just such a veteran play by a guy who, listen, I have my questions. Everybody has their questions about whether his contract on the Yankees was worth it, whether they overpaid him, whether he's underperforming. He's gotten injured pretty much every single season. He can't play the field anymore and he can't run. But that guy in the playoffs is historically the greatest home run hitter in the playoffs, aside from Babe Ruth. He is a guy that I love on my team. I had my questions about him all season. Every single postseason, when somehow the rest of the Yankees start to slump, he shows up. He has great at-bats. He hits the ball hard as shit. And now, tomorrow night, or I guess tonight, for all of you that will be watching, Game 4, Garrett Cole back on the bump. Yankees looking to close out the series. Worst case scenario, we get a Game 5 at home. We don't want to deal with that. We're going to take care of business. Aaron Judge is going to get out of his little playoff slump here, and the Yankees are going to keep rolling. I'll skip past the rest of the baseball talk, although the Padres got absolutely waxed tonight after they worked the Dodgers yesterday. That is going to be a great Game 5. Moving on to football, Florida Gators, big game this week. They visit number 8 now, Tennessee, after their terrible loss to the Arkansas Razorbacks, where they were up double digits, didn't score in the second half, gave up just so many unanswered points, and Arkansas got to rush the field. So good for Arkansas, bad for Tennessee. We always play Tennessee close, and the line is 15.5. I get it. The Gators are not great. They haven't shown anything against quality teams to prove to you that they are worth anything. Not saying we're going to win the game, but we always play Tennessee close. This team is starting to figure it out. They got to have a little confidence after beating UCF, in-state rival, quote unquote, Power 5 team, even though it's their first year in the Big 12. The offense is gaining momentum. More importantly, the defense is gaining momentum. Tennessee off a bad loss scares me because I think Nico and that offense is going to come out absolutely firing. Another night game for the Gators. I'll be dialed in. You all should be dialed in. I wouldn't recommend betting on the Gators, but I'll be betting on the Gators. So if you're not a Florida Gator fan, Tennessee minus 15.5 suddenly looks really, really nice. Other games in college football, we have Ohio State traveling to Oregon. And in Eugene, they are still favored by 3 points. Jaws did send me his picks for the week. He sent me the full NFL slate and also added on that he is slamming the Buckeyes. Obviously, our locks of the week are only NFL picks. He called this his lock of the week 2.0, Ohio State -3. I honestly haven't watched a lot of Ohio State football because they haven't played anybody this season. Will Howard looks great, and that other 17-year-old besides Ryan Williams on Alabama, the other 17-year-old receiver on Ohio State looks just as good. Jeremiah Smith, both freshmen, both 17 years old, and probably the two best receivers in college football, which is absolutely incredible. Oregon, Dylan Gabriel is putting up big numbers. They're always a good team. For me, this game all depends on what uniform Oregon puts on. Oregon is always coming out with these cool uniforms. If they come out rocking with some sexy neon printed crazy shit, give me the Ducks. And realistically, especially because Jaws took the Buckeyes and I hate Ohio State, I'll be slamming Oregon in this game. It honestly seems like a free win for Ohio State. Now, it's their first test this season. It's our first look at them against actual competition. So I'm very excited. 7:30 on NBC. That is going to be an incredible game. The rest of the college football slate is actually pretty damn good. Penn State travels to USC after they came off a bad loss against Minnesota. We got the Red River rivalry. Wow, that one's hard to say. Texas visiting Oklahoma, and Texas is 14.5 point favorites. Now, I know that's a neutral site game and everything. They're both SEC teams. Texas is clearly the better team. Jaws and I both agree that Texas is, in our opinion, the best team in college football. I won't be taking that line because that scares the shit out of me, but that will be a fantastic game. South Carolina visits Alabama. South Carolina unranked, not really that good. I hammered the opposing team last week, Ole Miss, who bounced back off a bad loss. I think South Carolina is just playing teams at the wrong time, and it seems like they're going to play Alabama at the wrong time. Alabama lost to Vandy, which is absolutely awful, possibly the worst loss in Alabama history. I don't know, because I don't know all of the losses in Alabama history, but it's not a lot of losses because they don't ever lose, and Vandy is bad. So they are going to come out firing, angry. Kalen DeBoer is going to get that team right, and if he doesn't, then we have some questions about him. Not that he needs to get fired or anything, but like after that Georgia game, it was like, all right, they found a replacement for Saban. This guy's going to be here a while. This guy can show up in big games. This was a statement game for him that he needed to win. And then he comes back from that and loses to Vandy. Now, I know, like, you can have a little drop off after the big games. You might start slow, but they came out in that second half, got pretty close to tying up the game, and just had no answers for Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt is better than normal Vanderbilt, but they aren't a football team. So Alabama bounces back. They cover the 21-point spread in this game, in my opinion, probably with ease. And our final incredible game is Ole Miss traveling to LSU, number 9 visiting number 13. And Ole Miss is 3.5 point favorites. I have been all over Jackson Dart this season. I have been all over Ole Miss. I absolutely love the Rebels, and I'm laying the 3.5 points. Jackson Dart looked phenomenal last week. I'm not sold on Nussmeier and LSU. LSU lost in the opening day game to USC. This is their biggest game since then. I think they fall short again. They have the inexperience. Jackson Dart needs to go out and win this game to keep his Heisman alive and my Heisman ticket for him alive. He goes out and he takes care of business. One other game shout out, Boise State travels across the water to Hawaii. They are 21-point favorites against a bad Hawaii team. Take Ashton Ginty for anything and everything. It doesn't matter how ridiculous the line is. Boost it up even more. This guy is a beast. I saw a stat earlier in the Mountain West. He is obviously the number one rusher in the Mountain West. The number two rusher in the Mountain West, you won't be able to guess this. Ashton Ginty, after contact by like 150 yards over the next guy. This guy's unreal. He's the guy that is and should steal the Heisman from anybody else. Travis Hunter, Jackson Dart, any other quarterback. He is incredible. I love watching him play. I know a lot of other people do. I mean, he's the type of guy that I'd like to find his way onto the Cowboys for next season because Rico Dowdle looks better, but that guy's damn workhorse. He knows how to run the football, and that's a guy any NFL team wants on there. So, enough of college football. Kansas State goes to Colorado. Jaws is obsessed with Colorado. Whether he says it or not, he's also a big Kansas State guy. Kansas State minus 4.5. Colorado's sneaky. I feel like that line should be more, but everyone's going to bet on Colorado's, so they make it less. I'll take Kansas State because I fucking hate Colorado and everything they stand for. And on to the NFL. The Eagles, coming off a bye week, they host the Browns, who are possibly the worst team in football. They are 9.5-point favorites. If I had to do my best Jaws impression, he would say, this is the week that the Eagles finally put it together. They had a rest. A.J. Brown is back. Devontae Smith might be back. The defense is healthier. They're playing a bad Browns team at home. It's a 1 o'clock game. We'll make up that Tom Brady's on the call because we know he's a nerd. Jaws is a nerd about the broadcasters. The Eagles roll. Jalen Hurts and Sirianni figure it out, and they look awesome, and it's the first time this season that they do it. Naturally, with no surprise, Jaws' pick was the Eagles minus 9.5. I have to pick a team in this game, and I refuse to pick the Eagles, so I'll take the Browns plus 9.5 for no reason other than I hate the Eagles. Do they put it all together? Do they figure it out? No. I would love nothing more than the Eagles to scrap out a 3-point victory against a bad Browns team. Then there's even more questions. Whenever you thought there wasn't enough questions or there couldn't be any more, suddenly the Eagles look bad against the Browns, and it's like, whoa. Like, what is this football team? Like, yeah, now they're sitting at 4-2. Commanders face a tough game. Cowboys face a tough game. The Eagles could somehow be sitting in tied for first place in the division after this week. And they will, because I really don't see a scenario where they lose. But I can't wait for them to look like shit. Jalen Hurts will still turn the ball over. Saquon Barkley will have those 3 to 4 special plays that win them the game. That Browns defense is still a defense, and they're going to be able to contain a mediocre Eagles offense. The Browns offense is really bad, and Deshaun Watson is now officially, in my opinion, the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. And they're just not going to be able to put up points against anybody. That is going to be an ugly game that I don't plan on watching, besides watching some Eagles play so I can at least have some content to shit on Jaws for next week. But congrats on the free win, Eagles. You got the Browns. Listen, we got them too, but it's nothing special. They proved nothing this week. Back-to-back weeks of the Eagles not doing anything. They might as well just call this a bye and give the Eagles the win. But I'm sure Jaws will have something to say afterwards about, we're so back. Yeah, whatever. The Cowboys scare the shit out of me. And like I said, I think they're going to scare the shit out of me every single week for possibly the rest of the season. We host the Lions, who are coming off a bye week. Healthy team, didn't have injuries beforehand. Aiden Hutchinson continues to get better every single season and every single week. I think he has a sack or more in every single game. He is a disruptive player, and I am scared shitless about how we are going to defend him. Now, I felt the same way about TJ Watt, and we were still able to beat the Steelers. The difference is the Lions' offense is fucking incredible, and they run the ball down people's throats, even people with good defenses. The Cowboys continue to lose more and more pieces on the defensive line. Not that they have anything anyways. It's like they're throwing me out there, and then I'm getting injured. Like, I wonder why, because you're throwing people like me out there. So, yeah, I am really nervous about the Lions. The Cowboys are 3-point dogs. Let's see what Jaws picked. Oh! Jaws, who is drunk and I'm sure rushed these picks a little bit, naturally, like the last time he picked against the Cowboys with his lock of the week, is picking the Lions -3 as his lock of the week, probably to fade me, or because he truly thinks the Cowboys are bad and he knows the Lions are good. I mean, listen, I honestly don't blame him. I think we're going to compete in this game. I think we have a legitimate chance. We are 3-0 away and 0-2 at home. All I ask is that this team fucking shows up at home. They've gotten blown out and embarrassed twice in their own house, where the last 2 seasons, they've only lost, 2 games aside from the playoff games? Like, step into Jerry World with a rockin' crowd that better be full of Cowboys fans. If I see more than 10 light blue Lions shirts, I'm going to be pissed. 100,000 people packed into AT&T, similar to last week, where it was like, just fucking win the game because you're the Cowboys. They don't even need to win this week. I'm not asking them to win. Just compete. Be in the game. Be better than you have been the last few weeks. Because whenever they play a big team and a good team, they get fucking smoked, and it's like they give up at halftime and they're just bad. Like, McCarthy, come up with a game plan, because it's really hard to score on them. And the defense, Mike Zimmer, you're going to have to do something really fucking special, because you don't have your best players. You don't have your second team on the D-line. I don't know how you stop this team, but that's why I'm not a defensive coordinator. That is your job. So figure it out, at least be able to slow this team down. And the offense is starting to figure it out. They're still turning the ball over in the red zone. The red zone is the biggest question mark for this team, because they get to the red zone with no problem. It's once they get into the red zone, they turn the ball over. They settle for field goals. They don't score touchdowns. And against a team like the Lions or an actual contender, if you settle for field goals, especially in the red zone, you're not going to win that game. And especially against the Lions, who are a team that is aggressive, that goes for it on 4th down, whether it's on their own 25 or the other 1-yard line. They are going for it. Dan Campbell is going to lay his nuts on the line, blood, sweat, and tears, everything left on the field. And if you're not giving that on the other side of the ball, you might as well not even show up because you have no chance. So my prediction, I think I'm not going to pick a winner. I'll pick the Cowboys +3 for the sake of picking. I think it's going to be a really damn good football. One of the best of the season so far. A 425 call. That'll probably be the Tom Brady game. Wow, he's really rubbing off on me because only he would bring this stuff up. I'm trying to bring both of us together on this podcast without him being here. So his aura is still here. CeeDee Lamb finally gets it going because as cool as Jalen Tolbert was last week, he's not the guy. You can't rely on him. Maybe he's a number 2 guy, but not even that. It's Rico Dowdle, Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott turns the ball over, we lose the game. We win the turnover battle, we win the game. And Dan Campbell has a fault in being aggressive because he goes for it on 4th down. He goes for 2. Obviously, there was that super questionable lineman didn't report play when they went for 2 last season. But then they got backed up to the 7-yard line and they still went for it. And all they needed was a kick to tie the game. So sometimes that gets a little out of control with him. And if we can stop them on some of those super over-aggressive plays, we're going to have opportunities to win the football. The Lions haven't been as good this season. They're only getting better, and I'm scared shitless about them. I am certainly going to have to get drunk for this game. And I hope I don't have to turn it off and start doing dishes at halftime. So you'll have a better reaction from me possibly during and post game, and especially next week as we recap. Officially, my pick is Cowboys -3. Jaws is Lions +3. No surprise here, but the Cowboys and Eagles game, we both faded. On to the rest of the slate. Thursday night, fucking fantastic game. 49ers visiting the Seahawks. Seems like this game is always on prime time, and it seems like it's always a great game. I can just picture the 49ers in their away uniform, the Seahawks in that neon green. Geno Smith is balling. They had a bad loss last week. Now, so did the 49ers, because the 49ers had that game against the Cardinals won. It was wrapped up. They were dominating. Besides from Kyler Murray doing peace sign on his way to the end zone in the first quarter, Cardinals couldn't do shit. And then suddenly they shut the 49ers down. And we've, like I mentioned last podcast, this has happened in all of their losses where they just kind of forget how to play football. And Ayuk finally had his breakout game. Debo's been quiet besides the first game of the season. Kittle's getting it going. Jordan Mason's good, but he's not McCaffrey. Trent Williams is great. The rest of the offensive line isn't. Jaws' pick officially is Niners -3.5. I am going to go the opposite side and take the Seahawks -3.5. I think they keep this game close. Divisional game. I love the idea of losing by a field goal late and still covering the spread. The over-under is 49.5. I don't love the over. I think there's going to be points. We had an electric Thursday night football game last week. Why not another one this week? I can totally see myself taking the over, and then it's a fucking dud of a week. Sorry, dud of a game. But I'm very excited to watch that one tonight. It's going to be interesting to see how the Seahawks bounce back. I mean, the Seahawks with a win go to 4-2, and the 49ers would theoretically drop to 2-4 with a loss. And then it's like, whoa, now we're starting to panic in San Francisco. Now we're starting to ask questions about Brock Purdy. Now we're starting to ask Shanahan if the scheme is only so good if you don't have players. My pick, Seahawks +3.5. I will absolutely be taking the money line. And Brock Purdy is a question mark after this week. Brock Purdy is not the guy. Brock Purdy is not an elite quarterback. Brock Purdy on any other team is out of the league. Maybe he steps onto the field as a backup at some point. Probably not. It was all the system. It was all the scheme. He doesn't have to do that much. And when he does, he can't. He makes a few cool throws sometimes. He's not elite. He's on the most loaded roster in the NFL, and he's still not winning. Brock Purdy is bad. You're going to see it tonight. 49ers lose. Seahawks plus 3.5 is free. Moving on to Sunday, we have the Jaguars at the Bears. Early morning London game. Back-to-back weeks, we've got a London game. This is more like the London game that we expect, where two shitty teams go across the pond and play a shitty football game. After last week's win, Jaws must feel some kind of excitement about the Jaguars. They're still bad. They tried their best to lose last week. And if they do that again this week against the Bears and that defense, they have no chance. Bears minus 2.5, absolutely free. Debating it to be my lock of the week. And you know what? It's my lock of the week. Once again, I am taking the Bears in what would have been my third straight week if I wasn't too pussy to take them 2 weeks ago. Freaks me out because I got too high on the Steelers, and that ended up crushing my perfect lock of the week stretch. I am not scared this time because the Jaguars are terrible. Their offense is one of the worst in the league. Trevor Lawrence is a turnover machine. And in my opinion, the Bears have the best defense in the league. That defense led by Eddie Jackson is unreal. Turnovers. Maybe they'll give up a field goal or two, but they don't give up touchdowns. And that Jaguars defense isn't good. Caleb Williams is getting better every single week. Suddenly, the Bears sit at 4-2, and everyone's like, here's the Bears team we thought we knew. Here's Caleb Williams in the number 1 overall pick. He's feeding DJ Moore because he's a genius. DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson, maybe after this week, we're arguing they're the best 1-2 punch running back-wise in the league. DeAndre Swift has had 2 mega breakout games, and I don't see that stopping this week. Throw every single DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift prop with an alternate spread of Bears minus 9.5, and you're rolling in cash. That is so free. Bears minus 2.5, my lock of the week. To go over Jaws' lock of the week once again, it was a panic pick to fade the Cowboys. Lions minus 3, still probably going to hit, but not a good pick by him. Enough about the Bears and the Jaguars, because that's a shitty game. The next game on our slate, the Texans, with no Nico Collins, now that he's on the IR for at least 4 weeks, visit the New England Patriots, where we get the debut of rookie quarterback Drake May. A really fucking tough spot to put him in, where the Patriots have one of the worst offensive lines. The Texans are getting the most pressures on the quarterback in the NFL. Almost 40% of dropbacks, they are getting pressures. Yeah, he's kind of a mobile guy, but like, I'm kind of setting this guy up for failure. But I don't see a way that he's able to do anything. Jaws has the Texans minus 7. Scares me that I also have the Texans minus 7. It just seems free. It seems too free that like I wanted to make it my lock of the week, but I won't. Without Nico Collins, Tank Dell finally is going to get his shit together. They're going to double team Stephon Diggs. He'll still have a great game, but Tank Dell is going to have over 100 yards and a touchdown, maybe 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon is still out, so take every single CJ Stroud passing prop. The over-under is 38.5, they're really not expecting a lot of points. I was going to say I like the under, but at 38.5, I'm just going to stay away. I'm going to take the Texans -7. If you're making a teaser, you can tease that down to -1, and that with something else seems fucking free. So I will be hammering that teaser with another team. Possibly the Seahawks, because they don't lose by more than 9.5. So Seahawks plus 9.5, Texans -1. That is the teaser of the week, featured by Mike. Next game on our slate, a game that I know Jaws is pumped about. I am super pumped about it. I texted him earlier today when I saw the preview on ESPN as I was working out in the gym. Yeah, to all my fraternity brothers and friends, I do occasionally hit the gym. 6-pack coming soon. And by soon, I mean like eventually, or like at some point in time, or like when I fall asleep tonight and start dreaming. Anyways, back on track. The Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels, one of the MVP frontrunners, visit the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium. Lamar Jackson, another MVP frontrunner, a guy that a lot of people are comparing Jaden Daniels to in the way that they both are scramblers, mobile quarterbacks. Ravens -6.5. They're starting to figure it out. They won a gritty game last week. They've played a lot of close games this year. They lost to the Chiefs by 7. They lost to the Raiders by 3. They beat the Cowboys by 3. They whooped the Bills on Sunday Night Football. Kind of sort of ignore that one. And then they beat the Bengals by 3. I'm not saying Jane Daniels wins this game. The fucking talk of the town will be unreal, though, if he does. I will certainly be sprinkling on that. Take every single Jaden Daniels prop. Take every single Lamar Jackson prop. This might be the best game of the week. The over-under's 51.5, and I still love it. Jaws is on the Ravens -6.5. Wow. We are such big Jaden Daniels guys, and just did not see him picking that, which makes me feel even better about Commanders -6.5. Aside from that Ravens blowout against the Bills, which was weird, and the Bills are trending down and everything, the Ravens have been playing close games. Even then when they've been winning big, they've given up points late. I think the Commanders can win this game. I think the Commanders make a statement. The DMV little rivalry here, they're only about 45 minutes away from each other. Commanders actually play in Maryland, so actually crazy that Maryland has 2 football teams. We need to talk about that more in the future. So does New Jersey. But anyways, Jaden Daniels, breakout game. Might lose it late at the end because I think this might be the game where the Commanders' defense comes back down to reality. But if there's any team to stop that running game, it's that Commanders' defensive front. That front 4 is scary. And I'm not looking forward to when the Cowboys have to try and run the ball against them. I cannot wait for this game. This is so far my favorite game of the slate. Commanders +6.5 is my pick. Jaden Daniels continues to make a statement, continues to rise up the MVP ranks. Terry McLaurin has a game. Jaws is on Ravens -6.5. We're going against each other here. I love it. I'm pumped. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm fired up for this game. I mean, the 1 o'clock slate is on crack already. So this is cool. Next game, the Packers are hosting the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals don't play a lot of 1 o'clock games, so it'll be nice to see them in the early slate. The Packers are -5. This, to me, is a weird line. If I wasn't forced to pick every single game, I would probably stay away or be a sheep and take the Cardinals +5. Just feels weird. The Packers with Jordan Love back are good. They're good at home. They're a solid team that I feel like wins these type of games. Do they put it together enough to cover 5 points? I don't love it, but without even looking at Jaws' pick, I'm afraid he's taking the Packers. I'm going to take the Packers. Cardinals just came off a big win. Everyone's going to be high on the Cardinals. They're not that good. That defense isn't that good. That offense is super inconsistent. Marvin Harrison needs to figure it out and get a little more consistent. Kyler Murray, Call of Duty is a few weeks away, and he might be prepping up for that. Jaws, of course, is also on the Packers. We actually hit on the Packers last week together, so naturally we're going to get smoked with the Packers this week. If you've been listening this far, you should take the Cardinals +5. You should also take the Cardinals money line, because with Jaws and I both taking the Packers, they have absolutely no chance. Now, the way I see the game playing out is they run the ball down the Cardinals' throat. They get the ball first. They score a touchdown. They come out firing, and they just never look back. This is a game that they win. They're the better team. They take care of business. It's all that needs to be said. Saints are at home in the next game, a divisional matchup where they host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Speaking of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, praying and hoping for the best for everybody in that Tampa area and the whole west coast of Florida, all of Florida for that matter, and anyone else that may be affected by this hurricane. It seems really, really bad. So I hope that anyone that's in one of those not safe zones, evacuation zones, whatever they're called, was able to get out and stay safe. Hopefully you are able to find a safe place on Sunday to sit down and still enjoy some football. Hopefully you still have power and everyone is safe. Luckily, the Bucs were able to get out on Tuesday, which is not normal for a away team to travel, especially one that's so close to their opponent. They got out before the storm hit. They travel to New Orleans, and they are favored by 3.5 points. Bucs are hot. Aside from that random fluke Broncos game, they are firing. They did lose to the Falcons, but they played a phenomenal game, and I'm not worried about them. The Saints are trending in the wrong direction after stellar week 1 and week 2. Kubiak sort of lost that offensive flow. People are saying it's because of Taysom Hill, and I'm just, get the fuck out of here. Big Taysom Hill guy here. I love him. I've always loved him. He's only gaining more of a role every single season, but he can't be that important to the offense. Now, I think he is actually back this week, so maybe I take back all my statements, and he is the difference. I think I just talked myself into Saints +3.5. I like them at home. I like that they can lose by a field goal. They're a really bad football team, so I'm going to take the Saints because it makes absolutely no sense. And shit, Jaws is also on the Saints. And Jaws is a big-time Bucs guy so far this season. He ripped them the first 2 weeks of the season as his lock of the week. Very curious as to his opinion on why the Saints cover. Maybe it's the same as me. Maybe he likes getting a field goal, divisional matchup. It's close. I feel like these two teams have pretty good offenses, and the over-under's 41.5, which doesn't make sense and screams over. So I'm going to take the divisional under here. Shout out Alex Orr, big divisional under guy, also big Bucs guy. So he won't like that I'm taking the Saints, but at least I'm following his one true love, the divisional unders. So both Jaws and I on the Saints +3. Next game, still on the 1 o'clock slate. This game sucks. Anthony Richardson in his return, and the Colts travel to Tennessee to play the Titans, where Nashville is off such a high from that Vanderbilt game. Those people walked over 3 miles to dump the goalpost into the river, and all I can think about is being the one guy that stood on top and just took a ride for over 3 miles. And if I was carrying that, I'd be like, fuck you, dude, get off. Like, help us carry this thing. But I guess they're so drunk and fired up, and maybe he was the captain, the pioneer, the one who led them to the promised land. I'd like to be that guy. So shout out that guy. He probably got laid that. And if he didn't, at least he got to ride on a goalpost, and he'll never forget about that. As to the game, the Titans, who just got their first win last week and are really fucking bad, are -2.5, hosting the Colts. Sorry, the Titans did not get their first win last week. They were actually on a bye last week. So they're going to be a little fresher than the Colts, although Anthony Richardson should also theoretically be fresh. The Colts are better than the Titans, but it's a divisional game, and the Colts should be favored. So everything says slam the Colts +2.5. But what I do in these games, because I'm sharp as shit, is take the line that doesn't make sense. Because the sheep and the common folk of America are going to say, oh, Colts +2.5, they're the better team. The Titans suck. This is free. Nope. Titans -2.5 against the Colts. No idea what kind of script leads them to winning the game. But the NFL's pretty creative, so they'll think of something. And Will Levis, back in after the bye week, after he got benched/injured. Go Titans. And Jaws is also on the Titans. We're on a little string here of 1, 2, 3, 4 straight games that we are picking together. Hopefully that doesn't continue, because we are bad together. And this seems like a really game for us to both be on the Titans. Once again, if you're smart, take the Colts. I'm sharp, but Mike and Mike are not sharp together. Therefore, I'm a dull pencil instead of a sharp pencil. If you have a pencil, write in Colts +2.5, because we are both on Titans -2. That is all for the 1 o'clock slate. I am out of breath, and this is a lot of talking, but I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are. I'm not sure how interesting I am on my own, but we'll see. Moving on to the 4 o'clock slate, we have 4 games. We already hit on the Cowboys hosting the Lions. Next, we have the Chargers coming off a bye. Justin Herbert will be healthy for this game. Not sure that makes a huge difference, because he hasn't been that great this season. But that running game of the Chargers has been pretty good. J.K. Dobbins should be fired up to get back on the field. They visit the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos, 3 straight wins, 2 of them at home. They're feeling good. Bo Nix is getting into a rhythm. Why are the Chargers 3-point favorites? I don't know. I don't know what I would make the line here. I'd probably just leave it to be a pick'em, because it's so fucking random. But history would probably say that the Chargers beat the Broncos more than the Broncos beat the Chargers in the last 10 years. I don't have that stat in front of me, but I know it's true because I said it. I'll take the Chargers -3. Broncos and the Bo Nix are fun, and I like rooting for them, but they don't deserve to be above 500. They don't deserve to be in the playoff race later this season. They come back down to reality. It's a super ugly 35.5 over-under game. Chargers -3. Jaws, with no surprise here, is sucking off Bo Nix and is taking the Broncos +3, with, in parentheses, WTF, stands for what the fuck, if anybody was wondering. What the fuck is that line? End parentheses, with 3 question marks afterwards. He thinks the line is stupid. He thinks the Broncos are better than the Chargers. He thinks it's obvious to take the Broncos. Another reason that I feel even better about the Chargers. Another pretty shitty 4 o'clock game. Luckily, I've got the Cowboys to focus on. The Steelers travel to the West Coast to face off in Las Vegas against the Raiders. Another game where the away team is 3-point favorites. Steelers are laying 3 to the Raiders. I think Aiden O'Connell is starting this game for the Raiders after Gardner Minshew got benched last week, but I'm not sure. Devontae Adams is going to be out again for this game. The Raiders are trending in the wrong direction. The Steelers' offense is a mega question after they couldn't score against the Cowboys' shitty defense. Justin Fields will still be the starter in this game. Their offense hasn't looked good all season, and they're 3-2. So I think the defense carries them here. Max Crosby is going to feast on Justin Fields, but I'm laying the points with the Steelers. I think I'm taking a lot of favorites. I like the Steelers. This is a game where their defense shows up and wins the game for them. Their defense might score all the points, and Justin Fields just has to not turn the ball over and just punt on every drive, and that'd be cool with me. I'm taking the Steelers -3. Jaws is also taking the Steelers. As we've noted a few times this season, the Steelers and the Packers are our kryptonite. Somehow, whenever they play, we either both take them or we both fade them. This week, we're both taking the Packers and Steelers as favorites and laying the points. So if you parlayed the Cardinals with the Raiders, you have a pretty nice looking underdog parlay. I won't tell you to take it because I'm cheating this season. So I'll knock on wood because I should have never said that. But I'm starting to catch fire. I might be beating every jinx in the book. I've started betting on my own teams, and it's doing okay. The Yankees are still pulling out victories. The Cowboys won last week in a game where I had to sweat my dick off. Maybe I'm past it, and I'm just truly, truly sharp. Maybe this podcast brought the best out of me. The podcast was like, step your game up. The whole world is listening. Or the 40 to 100 people that listen. The whole world is listening. So maybe I'm better. Or maybe I'm not, and I come back down to reality after maybe my best betting week ever last week. Who knows? We'll see. Jaws and I, both on Steelers -3. The final game of the 4 o'clock slate, just as shitty as the rest of the 4 o'clock slate, aside from the Cowboys game. The Falcons face off against the other NFC South foe, the Carolina Panthers. Carolina 1-4. They won the first Andy Dalton game and played better in the second one, but came back down to reality. I think the Andy Dalton hype is over after they looked like shit last week. Now, the Bears defense makes anyone look like shit, but I think the Panthers are really bad. I think they're still the worst team in football. I think Falcons -6 is generous. If you look at all of the Panthers' losses, none of them have been close. They lost 47-10 to the Saints, 26-3 to the Chargers, 34-24 to the Bengals, and 36-10 to the Bears. So they have not covered even a 10-point spread in any of those games. They're not going to do it this week. Falcons -6, lay the points. That is my co-lock of the week. Was going to be my lock of the week until I realized the Bears are fucking wagon. Similar to how last week was maybe the last time that you could get the Commanders at good value. I guess not, because they shouldn't be 6.5-point dogs to the Ravens. But this might be one of the last times that you can get the Bears at good value against a bad team. This also might be one of the last times where you can get the Falcons before they're a wagon. I love the Falcons. I love that offense. Kirk Cousins is finding the weapons. Bijan Robinson honestly doesn't even look that great because they're sharing the ball so much. Falcons -6. It's free. That stadium might be a Falcons home game because the Panthers suck. Jaws is also taking Falcons -6. He clearly learned his lesson from taking the Panthers last week. They're terrible. I want nothing to do with them. I don't think I'm going to bet on them all season. Falcons -6. We both. 2 games left this Sunday night and the Monday night game. Both very, very interesting games. Not like, whoa, that's fucking insane playoff matchup kind of thing, but the Bengals, who are 1-4. Joe Burrow is having his best season as a pro, and the Bengals are 1-4. Desperately need a win against a Giants team at home who is starting to find their form a little bit. Not sure if Malik Neighbors is going to be back this week. He is not on the injury report, so not sure if he's on the IR or not, but it doesn't sound like he's playing. My buddy Jeff went to the Travis Scott concert in New Jersey tonight. I can't believe I'm shouting out Jeff. He's in my fantasy football league with my hometown friends, where they got pretty fired up about a trade that I made today. Every single season, I make a really shitty trade with Jeff. So this season, I told Jeff, I don't care what happens. I am not trading with him. If he tries to send me trade offers, I'm going to block his number. He's respected that somewhat so far this season. But anyways, he saw Malik Neighbors at the Travis Scott concert. Buddy's supposedly got a concussion, but it's at a Travis Scott concert, which doesn't seem really smart. But he's a baller and a dog. The only hope that the Giants have for the season, so in case you can't get too mad at him. Anyways, Bengals -3.5 in New York, desperately needing a win. Don't love taking the Bengals here. Think the Giants show up and play well. I wish I had like the last 10 Bengals-Giants games in front of me, but I don't, and I hate the Giants. So I'm going to take the Bengals. Joe Burrow needs a win to save the season. Fucking Zach, whatever their head coach is, needs a win to save his job. They get it done in dominant fashion on prime time. Bengals -3.5. Jaws is also on Bengals -3.5. I would love to know his feeling on how he sees the game playing out. I know he's a big Burrow guy. He still believes the Bengals are going to make the playoffs. I'm not as confident in that, although I do love Joe Burrow, and he would be an MVP frontrunner if they weren't 1-4. So that's a very enticing game that I think is going to stay close because I don't think either team has the capability to run away with it. I hope it's close for the sake of enjoying a quality Sunday night football game. We'll see. We are both taking -3.5. Whenever we take the same spread, Mike and I, it's kind of like when all the people on Sunday Night Football give their picks and they all pick the same team. And then there's that meme that's like, oh shit, now that team's cursed and they're going to lose. That's kind of like us, except instead of 10 people picking the same team, all it takes is 2 people picking the same team. And we still suck. So another opportunity for you to take a dog in the Giants at +145, who are probably going to win this game because Jaws and I are taking the Bengals. And finally, to close things out, the Bills were 3-2 and have had 2 bad losses. Last week was coaching. Week before, they just didn't show up. The exciting start to the season that they had is over, and the flaws in their roster are starting to show. They visit the Jets, who today fired Robert Saleh. They fired Robert Saleh with no heads up, clearly didn't let him know that he was on the hot seat. He wanted to go say goodbye to all the players, and Woody Johnson said, no, get out of my facility, and got him escorted out, which, listen, I'm not a big Robert Saleh guy. He should have been gone before the season. I think Jaws is the same way, but a guy like that who's a player's coach, who gives it all and really, really cares about his guys, I feel like it wouldn't have killed you to let him say goodbye. Maybe that fires up the guys to go play for him this week. They don't. They escorted him out. A bit disrespectful to him. Not that I care, because I'm not him and I'm not a Jets fan. So the Jets with an interim head coach on Monday Night Football I believe it was Monday Night Football where the Jets hosted the Bills last season in week 1. And Aaron Rodgers got injured on the 4th play from scrimmage. So, a little redemption opportunity for him to hopefully play a full game. Garrett Wilson is starting to click with him. Nothing else about that team is clicking. Bills, -2.5. Seems obvious. Give me the Jets. I'm going to look really stupid when the Bills absolutely wipe the floor with them because the Jets are bad. But there's something about new coach, new team, starting to figure it out. Like, they get an extra day of rest after coming back from London. Clear-minded, new scheme maybe. Jaws is on Bills -2.5, so I feel fucking awesome. Jets +2.5, Jets money line. That's how you finish out a week. Those are all the picks. Those are my takes. That's really all I've got for you guys. It is really fucking late where I'm at, so I'm kind of tired. I finished these podcasts. I'm so fucking amped that I can't sleep, so probably going to do some editing and just stay up all night because I'm fucking sicko. But everybody, make sure to wish Jaws a very happy birthday. He is 24. He is officially old, or older than he was yesterday. And we've got an incredible slate this weekend. College football, NFL. We still have playoff baseball. Jaws doesn't, but I do. And all of the games are incredible. Sports are heating up. It's only getting better. October is here. Hockey started yesterday. Basketball's around the corner. Sports are fucking awesome. Anyone that says like sports can't be a hobby, you need another hobby besides sports, I say fuck you, because you're wrong. Sports are awesome. Sports are my life. I love sports. You guys love sports because you spend 2 hours out of every week listening to me and another guy that thinks they know ball talk sports. So thank you for doing that, because without you guys, we'd just be wasting hours out of our week with nobody listening. So appreciate you following us on the journey. Hope you enjoyed me doing this thing solo. I'm sure Jaws will have the opportunity to do it solo. We'll bring on more guests. We'll talk more ball. We'll talk more sports. Can't wait to get Jaws' take on how the Phillies ended their season. Can't wait to get his take on why he made all of these picks and why he lost so many picks. Because just one more reminder that I am fucking sharp. Hail me. Fade Jaws. When we both take the same thing, fade us both. Be great this weekend. Watch a ton of sports. Drink a ton of beer. Seize the weekend. That's all I got, folks. And, Mike. Yeah, Mike. Why not us? Why not us? Peace, guys.